Will Ragatz with Vikings on SI here to recap one of the weirder NFL games that I have watched in a long time. The Vikings went into Jacksonville on Sunday and beat the Jaguars 12-7 to move to 7-2 on the season, but it was anything but a straightforward and easy victory for a Vikings team that came into this one as about touchdown favorites on the road against a Jags team that was starting backup Mac Jones at quarterback. This was the first time since 2006 in a game that the Vikings actually lost against the Packers, where a team won a game with 0 touchdowns scored and at least 3 turnovers on offense. You just don't see that happen very often. It's not a recipe for success. But because the Vikings came away with 3 takeaways of their own defensively, all of which came in the fourth quarter, and they just dominated on the stat sheet in so many ways outside of the actual scoreboard, they were able to survive. They got 4 field goals from new kicker John Parker Romo in his NFL regular season debut. And like I said, they turned over Mac Jones 3 times down the stretch to just somehow hold on for a stressful, chaotic 12-7 victory. Let me read some of the stats in case you haven't seen them, because they really are quite jarring. The Vikings possessed the ball for over 42 minutes, which is the highest time of possession any team has had in the NFL this year. They outgained the Jaguars 402 to 143. They had 28 first downs to the Jaguars 10. They ran nearly double the amount of plays that the Jaguars ran, 82 to 43. They held the Jaguars to 3.3 yards per play. Just complete domination except for where it actually matters, which is in scoring points. And the Vikings had 7 trips to at least the Jaguars' 30-yard line. They didn't score a touchdown on any of those. Darnold threw 3 interceptions, all of which came in those situations kind of deep in Jaguars territory, 2 of which were in the end zone, 1 of which, controversially, looked like it hit the ground, but was ruled an interception, and the call stood after they reviewed it. So just really not a good game from Darnold at all. He threw 2 picks the week prior against the Colts, and now 3 more. It's becoming a very, very real concern for the ceiling of this Vikings team, which, again, they're sitting in a great spot at 7-2, one of the top spots in the NFC, still hanging around with the Lions in the NFC North, but you just wonder how far they're going to be able to go if Darnold can't take care of the football. Kevin O'Connell, Sam Darnold said similar things after this one that they did after the Colts game, where they're gonna go back and look at it and just try to be better and fix these things, but you really can't have this many turnovers from Sam Darnold and expect to beat teams that are better than the Jaguars. The Vikings defense gets a lot of credit in this game for, just limiting the Jaguars to one of their fewest yardage total days or their lowest yardage total days in franchise history. 3 takeaways late. Harrison Phillips had a fumble recovery. Byron Murphy had an interception for the 3rd straight game. Cam Bynum had an interception late in the game that almost sealed the deal. They still needed one last Jaguars penalty, an unnecessary roughness call that really ended the game. But yeah, this was a weird one. Darnold was not good, but the Vikings moved the ball so well. I mean, they had, I think, 6 drives of at least 45 yards, 3 drives of at least 65, 70 yards or so. They end up with over 400 total yards on the day, but they just couldn't punch it into the end zone. The execution wasn't there. There was some penalties that hurt them. There were just the bad decisions from Darnold, some protection issues at times, maybe some questionable play calls from Kevin O'Connell at times. For whatever reason, they just could not get into the end zone all day. So they have to thank their defense, and they have to thank the new kicker, Romo, for doing his job and making all 4 of his field goal attempts in his NFL debut. A strange game, kind of unique game in some ways, but at the end of the day, the Vikings will take it. They've really struggled in these first halves the last 2 weeks against the Colts and Jaguars, but guess what? They won both games. They're 7-2 as they prepare to take on the Titans next week in what looks like another very winnable game to potentially get to 8-2, but they're going to need Sam Darnold to figure something out. They're not going to bench him because they still believe in him, and we know what Nick Mullins is. He's going to turn the ball over too if you put him out there, but Darnold's got to be a lot better moving forward if this Vikings team is going to have the ceiling that they seemed capable of earlier in the season.